Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nails and Beauty Talk. I am your host, Asia the Bird. Today, I have a very special guest with me today. He is a fashion historian, journalist, and a fashion enthusiast. Please welcome Ryan Yip. Hello, Ryan, and welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for having me, Asia. Thank you. It was an honor to be here and chat fashion with you today.
Yeah, you're most welcome. So, I want to go ahead and get started by asking where you're from and tell us about your upbringing.
I'm from Hong Kong and born and raised in Hong Kong.
Mm,
I was upbringing is like I went to a boys' school at first, then went to a
hmm
co-ed high school, then came
hmm
here to Vancouver for college. And yeah, no, all my life, to be honest, since we're on the topic of fashion, all my life I have never associated myself with like pursuing a career in fashion or anything like that. I've
mm,
always wanted to be an engineer because of
mm.
Iron Man, right? It's like I saw the first Iron Man is like really cool. It's like, all these gadgets and stuff. Then I
Right.
realized you need to be good at math to be an engineer. I just am not good at math at all. And then I transitioned from wanting to be an engineer to a psychologist because that makes sense. Like, oh, I want to understand people. I want to know what they're thinking about.
Right.
Then um, that I don't know why what happened in the process of applying for colleges. I applied for UBC. So the first thing I applied for is like Bachelor of Science. They didn't take
hmm
me, so eventually I got into food science. So I went to UBC for food science, and that's like a
hmm
weird journey of my upbringing. I wanted to be an engineer, and now I have a degree in food science, but I'm doing fashion, which is kind of weird. Yeah, that's kind of my upbringing. Not nothing special, to be honest. It's just like
hmm
my parents are like middle class, so everything's kind of like
hmm
normal.
Right.
I'm not a kid that likes to buy a lot of things, to be honest. I'm the kind of kid that, hey, I want a computer. I stay in and I game. That's it. Uh Never really asked my parents for like, hey, can I buy this clothes or buy this and that? No, not really. So yeah, that's pretty a pretty normal upbringing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting. Like what has been like your high school and post high school journey like possibly?
Um High school was, I'd say it's typical as in
hmm
like rowdy, uh not rowdy in the sense that I would like break school rules and anything, but it's just like I'm like actively trying to pursue something, like just like a part of me maybe, right?
Yeah.
In school. And then I took IB, actually international, but I forgot the word. It's a French word, so it's like an international program instead of like a local curriculum, right?
Right.
And that really kind of opened my eyes to a lot of ways to attain knowledge, because local curriculum is really like just, hey, study this,
Right.
regurgitate it. But IB really encourages you to find knowledge yourself, and they prep you for, I'd say, the college process,
hmm
where you have to do research and stuff like that. But yeah, in terms of the intrapersonal thing in high school, I'm like kind of rowdy, always like try to talk to people and get myself in trouble, and not get myself in trouble, get myself stuck in the middle of drama all the time, because I'm always there, talking to people and stuff like that. So I'm always involved. So that's my high school. College was drastically different because
Mm.
I I didn't go, well, I'm from Hong Kong, and the only idea I have about, you know, colleges in the US or Canada is from movies. And
Mm.
the movie that really shaped my idea of what college would be is 21 Jump Street. Sorry, 22 Jump Street. So that's what I thought about. That's like, okay, you go to college, you party. That's it.
Right.
That's it. Right? That's it. Went to
Mm.
UBC, went to a few like frat parties. The worst thing I've ever experienced in my life. Worst thing ever.
Lord.
If anyone here, trying to go to frat parties and thinking, no, it's gonna be cool, and it's not gonna be cool. I assure you that's not gonna be cool. And so I spent the first year trying to like live the 22 Jump Street dream. It's like, okay, let me do this, let me do that.
Right.
Second year, second year is just like, this is not going anywhere. I need to find something else. And then second year's like I'm just in a limbo state. Did
Wow.
nothing happen. Yeah, it's really weird. Third year, COVID. And then fourth year is where I started, the whole um I'd be like, I can't do this anymore. Like this
Mm,
is weird. I can't just, be in college for the sake of living the college dream. It's weird. Because, like college is like a really resourceful 4 years of your life,
right.
right? Yeah, and so yeah, that's kind of my college years. Like all as I said before, it's like trying to find myself. Which
Mm,
fortunately in fourth year I kind of became more grounded,
mhm.
and well, I graduated, so that's good, right? I graduated,
Right, right,
and
right.
I sort of figured out kind of what I want to do. That's good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's very, very interesting. But I definitely want to go ahead and really ask, like, so you've been a content creator. So prior to fashion, what was your content focused on before fashion?
So in back in the limbo state second year,
Mm,
um, well, actually, this is really funny because when I first turned 18, which is a few months before I came here over in Canada,
mhm,
um, so after high school graduation, my math teacher, which is a person that a few of us are really close with, and
mhm,
he after graduation because we're not students anymore, he went out. We went out for dinner with my math teacher,
mhm.
and because back then I was the only one that's uh, of legal drinking age. I'm the
Right.
only one that's 18. So after
Mhm.
dinner, he was like, "Hey, do you want to go for a drink?" I was like, "Hell yeah." Sounds inappropriate, teacher and student drinking, but I'm not a student anymore, so whatever. So he took me to this like really fancy Japanese whiskey bar.
Mm,
First time ever like experienced anything like this. Well, not that I've been to bars at all before, right? But that first experience of going to bars, this like really sophisticated
right.
experience of like tasting whiskey really opened my eyes to whiskey. And I was like, first sip, it tastes so bad. Did not know how to appreciate whiskey at all, but I pretended I do because it's I'm in a high class environment. I'm not gonna be like
Yeah, yeah.
wincing and stuff
Like it
like that,
tastes
right?
bad or anything. Like, yeah.
Exactly. So I tough it out, and then after that night, that whole experience really stuck with me. I was
Mhm.
like, that's something I can associate myself with, right? They're
Right.
like, take your time, appreciate it, like a glass of whiskey, talk with your friends, that whole,
Right.
feeling. Yeah, I love that. So eventually, and then that night I went home. In the morning, I realized there's actually a bottle of Japanese whiskey called Hibiki in my house, which is gifted to my dad like years ago. And I was like, that looks really nice.
Mhm.
And then I Googled it. I was like, oh, Hibiki is actually pretty premium Japanese whiskey.
Mhm.
Powder bottle, it's already open, so it's not a brand new bottle, so he didn't yell at me. So I popped the bottle open, poured myself a little bit, really try to lean into the taste, like try to ignore the bad part. And then I start to realize, holy, there's actually different flavor in whiskey if you actually focus on it. And that's
Mhm.
how I started wanting to like learn more about whiskey and start to make content about whiskey, which is what I did in my second year of college. And also
Right.
alongside that, it's also the appreciation for watches. It just makes sense to me. It's like, oh, watches and whiskey, the whole Kingsman vibe,
Mhm.
suits tailored, that classic
Right. Right.
menswear,
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was making content about whiskey and watches. I also did a podcast before. I used to run a podcast, interviewing people here and there. But
Mhm.
I got burnt out because I didn't really know how to properly plan my content creation schedule. I just kind
Right.
of have I just you know, I wanted to put out an episode each week, and I was like
Mhm.
grasping for content each week, flailing for it, because I was in
Mhm.
school as well. And that really stressed me out a lot without properly knowing how to de-stress or take breaks. I just kept
Right.
going. And eventually I just stopped altogether because even though I love chatting with people, interviews, casual conversations to know more about their stories, the
Right.
post and pre-production of everything just took the fun away,
Right.
and I just had to stop. So I think it ran for like a year, the podcast, around a year, and I had
Hmm.
to stop. And then, well, early this year, I got back into content creation for fashion. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's very, very interesting. So it seems like you very much have a very huge interest in industry and a creation manufacturing level. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes. Because I believe what the industry wants you to focus on is 90%, 95% the product, right? Because that's all you get from the industry, right? But that's not true though, because let's take a t-shirt for an example, right?
Hmm.
Not a normal t-shirt, obviously. Let's say a vintage tee. Let's say you go thrifting, you bought a vintage tee,
Right.
and somehow accidentally you found out you bought it because you think it looked nice, but let's say 2 weeks later you found out there's a story behind it associated with the t-shirt. Now you look at the
Hmm.
t-shirt differently, right? You think that, oh my god, there's s- a little bit more to this t-shirt than other t-shirt. Now you
Right.
appreciate it more, which is something that happened to me. um do you know the TV show Pam and Tommy, that talk about Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee?
I think so. I think I heard that show.
Okay.
I never seen it.
Okay, so basically, the story is like, their sex tape got leaked by
Hmm.
in the show by a dude named Ran Gautier or something like that. It's there
Hmm.
like a construction worker working for Tommy Lee back then for his house, but then Tommy Lee didn't pay him, and then he basically stole their sex tape and sold it to a company called IEG, Internet Entertainment Group back then.
Hmm.
So I think 3 months ago, I went to a thrift shop and I saw, oh, IEG T-shirt. Oh, I know that.
Hmm.
It's a like a company that used to do cam shows online when internet was like literally just became a thing, right? So I was like,
Right.
oh, cool, IEG. Turn around, it's like, yeah, their promotional T-shirt. And then I saw a signature on the T-shirt that writes,
Hmm.
uh, I think from a girl, probably cam girls, like one of those signing shows, whatever events.
Right.
Can't stop thinking about you, or something like that. And then at the end, it writes to Randy,
Mm.
right? And I was like, is this the Randy, like the Rand Gautier back then who leaked the sex tape? Because this is huge, right? So like, it's like this extra layer of knowledge that
Hmm.
gives the T-shirt more meaning. If I didn't know
Hmm.
that, it would just be Randy would just be a normal person. IEG would just be a random logo that I liked.
Right.
But because of the knowledge of the industry, of the creation, like how this t-shirt came to happen, why is this even a thing at first? I
Right.
look at it now differently. So that goes to a lot of things that I find interesting in fashion or watches. It's not just the product. There's only so much to the product,
Hmm.
right? A
Right.
Rolex can just be a Rolex. No one care about just a Rolex. I mean, many people care about just a Rolex, but to me,
Right.
to me, if you look at the watch, if you think that, oh, it's a beautiful watch, there's only so much you can talk about, right? Because
Hmm.
other people can disagree with you on that. It's like, oh, I love the crown, I love the dial, whatever, and some people would disagree with you on that. But the story behind it, they can't disagree with it. Like what makes it significant, you can't disagree with it. It's history, right? So
Hmm.
that's what I find to be the most interesting in many things, like product wise.
Hmm. Yeah, I find that interesting that you say that because like it's not just solely, just looking at a artwork or whatever it is, a product, and saying, oh, like this is really good and stuff like that. Like you want to get into the fine depths of how it's made. You want to
Yeah.
get into the fine depths of where it's from. And that's like with, the artwork behind you with the skull. Like, like it's more to it than being like, oh, I love it. It's just like I love the colors and Ryan, the best things are not things.
Yeah, that painter signed it on the street. I was like, okay, that's great.
Yeah. So yeah, there's always a story behind like a product or a work of art. So everything has an art form to it. It always tells a story.
Exactly. It's like if you people watch your podcast, they see the interview. They don't see the behind the scene, all the things you do, but that's
Hmm.
like 90% of it, right?
Hmm.
It's easy for people to dismiss it, but you yourself know that the post production is kind of literally part of the fun, right? It's
Mhm.
not just the interview. So, but
Mhm.
people don't know that, but people should know that. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's the thing, but it's also going to what you said on TikTok about the 95.5%. Like the 95%, like people ain't too big on. It's just the 5% that really counts, and that's what makes something take off. So I
Yeah.
find that very interesting.
Yeah. Exactly. Also, that wasn't said by me. That was said by this other TikToker that I mean, teaches people how to grow on TikTok. And
Oh,
he,
okay.
okay, there's a random thing, not related, but the reason why I love him is because he doesn't like shove marketing tips down your throat.
Mhm.
He reassures you that, hey, what you're doing may not work, but it's okay. The algorithm's weird, but try to do this because yeah, he's kind with it. He understands like it's a tough thing. Right? He
Mhm.
doesn't make you fear of not catching up. He tells you that he
Right.
understands because he's been there. But slow down. Use this.
Mhm.
Test it out. That's why I love it.
Yeah.
Jackson tips or something like that. Whatever.
Yeah, right. So you're tackling, fashion history, and fashion in general. But I definitely want to get into and ask, like, tell us about your mom's fashion impact on you.
Oh wow. Also, when I saw a question, I was like, "How did you know that? How did you know that?
It was on TikTok.
You're trying to Nardwar me here. Like this is my little Nardwar moment here." Yes. Well, I'd say because growing up, my mom herself is really trendy because
Mhm,
there's this shop in Hong Kong called IT.
mhm,
Like, it's a huge I wouldn't say chain, but like there's a few shop all over Hong Kong that carries like high end brands, not Gucci, Prada, Dior. I'm talking about like more artisanal brands. So back then, early 2000, it would be like Comme des Garçons, Yohji Yamamoto, all these kind of more avant-garde designers. And my
mhm,
mom has been like tuned into the whole avant-garde fashion sense since
mhm,
like early 2000s. So before it
mhm,
even became a hype thing, right? And I just recently learned that. So my mom's impact on me growing up is that she would always ask us or force us to dress nice before stepping out the door.
mhm.
And to my dad is even worse because she will say things like, "If you're gonna wear that pair of jeans, I'm not going out with you today." Something like that. I'm not joking though. I'm not
Yeah,
joking.
yeah.
But as harsh as it sounds,
Mhm,
she kind of forced everyone in the house to be conscious of what they wear, even though
mhm,
we're just kids and I have like what 10 t-shirts, a few pair of shorts, right? I was
mhm,
forced to mix and match. And she never was the kind of mom, even she had the ability to, because I mean, you can tell she buys a lot of high-end clothes. She
mhm,
never really allows us to touch any high-end clothes. All my clothes are from Gap or like H&M, or maybe a Japanese brand called um, Izu.
mhm,
To a lot of people, Izu sounds like, oh, it's like high-end streetwear. Where in Hong Kong, it's literally just like mid-tier because it's really accessible.
mhm,
So we were forced to try to dress. Not that I actually look stylish, but we're forced to try and dress ourselves nice every time we go out. And that kind of became like an intricate part of my life. So I may not actually know how to dress myself, but the attempt, like the thought of attempting to mix and match is like ingrained in me. So that's like my mom's impact on me. And then I
mhm.
just recently found out that she's been buying all the, clothes from all these brands recently. I was like, "What the you have that?" Literally, that's the conversation I had with my mom, like, around a year ago. So I was calling her, and then she was telling me, "Oh, yeah, I bought this, coat from Zadig and Voltaire." I was like, "You know Zadig and Voltaire?" And then she was like, "Yeah. Who are you? I've been buying from them since forever." And I was like,
Right.
"Oh, really?" And then she showed me like a skirt from Comme des Garçons, and then also this thing. And I asked her, "Oh, do you know the brand, um, and the Millimeter? Oh my god, I love their tall boots." And she was like, "Yeah, I have like two pairs." I was like, "You have two pairs from when? Since when?" And she was like, "It's been like there for like 10 years now or 15 years." Oh, so you didn't like buy it recently? You bought it like a long time ago. And she was
Right.
like, yeah, I mean, and she was like, yeah, back then it's not even a thing yet. I was like, yeah, I know, I understand that. So that's why I'm appalled that you have two pairs from 15 years ago. So that's how
Lord.
I found out that my mom is like at the pinnacle of trends. But she's not really into the whole like story part. She really is just about the product. No problem with that. I'm not trying to shame people for just caring about the product, but
Right.
it's just for me, I chose to dive a little bit deeper. But yeah, that's my mom's impact, fashion impact on me.
Yeah, yeah, that's really, really cool. Now, there's a very strong relationship between art and fashion, and that's how the birth of the world famous book, 48 Laws of Power, came about by the famous Robert Greene, which is the most iconic book, which talks
I
about,
do have
you
that book.
know, about, treachery in life and business. So, what have you learned in regards to, treachery in the fashion world?
I wasn't aware how bad it can be, but recently the stories I've heard, whether it is as big as the story I just kind of made a video on about Andre Leon Talley,
Hmm.
or more personal stuff like a friend of mine, what he went through, what people will do to people just because of reputation or fame or popularity.
Hmm.
It's scary. It is scary. I don't know about other industry because I wasn't a part of it, but fashion is a dog eat dog world, like tremendously. Like if you're not strong enough, you will be devoured.
Hmm.
Uh, I can't really go into details, of the stories I
Hmm.
heard, but it's just I never wish to be a part of it. But it's just also the hate people have for each other in terms of
Right.
style. All right, they think that style is like a medal of some sort. If you wear this and you have that kind of, or at least if
Hmm.
your outfit makes people think that you dress well, that's a great achievement. And some people will even use that as an excuse to be nasty to other people. For
Hmm.
those who may not know how to dress, which I don't really agree. Everyone's in their journey, right? You
Right.
have to dress bad sometimes in order for you to dress good. And even though if you think you dress good and I don't think you dress well, it's okay. I'm not going to hate on you. That's your taste, right? But online community, they don't leave any room for anyone to like innovate their style. Once they do something slightly weird, they clown you for it,
Hmm.
which is not what I'm here for at all. This is not what fashion is. Fashion is not a form because what they're doing is just trying to encourage everyone to dress the same way, right? Because if
Right.
you dress this way, you get compliments. If you don't, you risk getting clowned. Some people is gonna support you. I'm not trying to
Hmm.
generalize everyone, but I'm sure that people are going to support you, but you're
Hmm.
still gonna get some like really extreme hate, right? Which is unnecessary. And
Hmm.
that only encourages people to dress the same way. And that's why we have like so many like trend hoppers doing this,
Hmm.
doing that, because they know this will get compliments. They know this is in, that is out. I don't want to
Mhm.
do that because that's so 2000 and late, right? um,
Right.
I just don't like the whole like extreme negativity
Mhm.
towards style. Yeah, that's like the treachery of fashion. I witness the most is people's hate for each other.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, right, exactly. But I love, me and my family love watching your videos. It's very informative in regards to
Thank you.
fashion history. So I definitely want to really ask, like, could you give like what stands out in fashion culture using these like three examples? So the first one is European slash American, if there's a difference between the two. The second one is Asian, and the third one is African.
I looked at this question and I first came up with a different answer, and then now I think that it really depends because what I mean by that is I don't think there is something that stands out. Like, let's say you're Asian designer, you're a black designer versus your white designer, and if they're put in the same room to design something, there's a huge chance that their design can resemble each other, right? Because creativity and inspiration is universal. But if
Mhm.
they try to create designs based on their cultural impact, then it's
Right.
drastically different, right? So European American, let's say European, we may see a lot of like classic French, couture, dresses, a busset. Is it called busset? The thing at the around the dress, whatever the crinolines, right?
Mhm.
The whole Victoriana, Edwardian fashion, right? And then in let's say a black designer with African descent, African culture background, and also in Africa, the culture's so diverse. You can't really tell what it really depends on the designer, what their background is. You
Mhm.
can't just generalize it, right? Someone
Mhm.
from Ghana versus someone from South Africa, completely different, right? And
Mhm.
same goes to Asian, right? Southeast Asian, Chinese,
Mhm.
Japanese, Korean,
Mhm.
Filipino, drastically different. So it's really hard to say that if there are anything that stands out culturally, because
Mhm.
even within Asia, designers from Asia, they differ drastically already,
Right.
right? So I
Mhm.
think um, in terms of the variety of design, if they don't really tap into the culture and they just take whatever like
Right.
out there in the world, combine them together and not just focusing on paying tribute to their background, I think their design can more or less resemble each other.
Mhm.
At least in today's age, because of internet and knowledge being so accessible, right? Huge
Mhm.
chance that they can create something similar. But once they tap into the cultural background, I don't know what's going to happen. That's
Mhm.
that's the that's the I'd say magical thing about fashion design.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, I can totally understand, because sometimes, like how you said, you put designers in the same room, they may create something similar. You know what I mean? So it can be, hard to tell, especially with different designers, no matter like where they're from.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, I could totally agree with that. So I definitely want to get into just in regards to, so you did mention getting into watches and whiskey in regards to your content, and you have such a strong interest in fashion history so much to the extent that you want to teach people how to be proficient in fashion history. So I definitely want to really ask, like, what is it about fashion history that interests you so much? And also, what is the role and contribution for fashion historians?
Uh, I'd say, first of all, I'd say my role or my interest lies kind of between history and anthropology, I'd
Mhm.
say, because history is more just the study of events that shape the reality we know today, but
Right.
anthropology is more the stories between people
Mhm.
that contribute to the greater event, right?
Mhm.
And well, the reason why I think it is why I want to teach people to how to be more proficient in fashion history is because, first of all, I don't think you need to go to school to learn fashion history, right?
Mhm.
I don't think it is. There are a lot of benefits for going to school, for a fashion school,
Right.
but I don't think you need it. And if you ever think that you want to learn fashion history and you're discouraged because you think it's such a behemoth of a project to take on, don't be discouraged. It is hard, right? Let's just be honest. It is hard, but it's not that hard. And second of
Mhm.
all, is that it is what it is what really shaped my real appreciation for fashion. As I said just now, stories really makes a garment, really makes
Right.
the coat, whatever you're buying. It really adds an extra layer of appreciation. So I encourage
Mhm.
a lot of people to. Okay, so you know how everyone's anti fast fashion now,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
And my stance is always, yes, anti-fast fashion, but if you really can't afford anything else, it's okay. I'm not going to shame you for it. But the other narrative is that appreciate slow fashion, right?
Mhm.
To many people, slow fashion and fast fashion is literally the same thing. It's a hoodie. What's the difference, right?
Mhm.
It wasn't until you learn about what makes slow fashion and
Right.
what makes fast fashion, then you
Mhm.
know the difference, right? And you can't just tell people to slow down, to appreciate fashion when they
Mhm.
don't even know what is there to appreciate,
Right.
right? That's the disconnection. Like people on like on social media, it's really easy for anyone to say, "Oh, screw fast fashion, this and that. Slow down, build a timeless wardrobe."
Mhm.
Okay, build a timeless wardrobe, quality and everything, right? How do you know
Mhm.
if it's quality? You need to learn, right? How do you um how do you really appreciate a coat you just bought
Right.
when all the things you can really appreciate is just the face value, right?
Mhm.
But you need to teach them, hey, build a relationship with your clothes, like really, associate a piece of clothing maybe with a
Mhm.
memory, with something that you really cannot replace with.
Mhm.
That's how you build real appreciation. And that's kind of how the fashion history played into uh, slow fashion. Because when you buy something on Grail, you thrift, you understand, oh, this is a pair of 1960s Levi's.
Right.
What's so significant about that? Oh, actually, during the 60s, Levi's did this. Oh, actually, during the 80s, Levi did this. So it's different. So now you learn Levi's not just Levi's. And
Right.
a pair of Levi's from the 60s is not just a vintage pair of jeans. It's actually a specific period of Levi's that went through back then. Now that's in your hands. Now you appreciate it way more. So that's why I want to promote the idea that not really fashion history, history is not for everyone, but it's
Right.
more learn about what you buy, whether it's the quality, the fiber, the garment, the story behind it, the shape of it. So whatever, learn something about it. Don't just buy it because you can just replace it the next time you see something else,
Mhm.
right? And also that's my hobby and that's what I like. So that's why I want to. I'm so sorry about the sound outside, but that's what I want to promote on TikTok.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's really, really cool. Now, if you could name your top 5 designers, who would they be and why?
top 5 designers.
Mhm.
That's a tough one. Uh, Number one, definitely Chris Van Ash. He was creative director at Dior for a little bit, and
Mhm.
he designed for Berluti.
Mm.
Many people would think that his design's like really boring, not really, out there, whatever. I love the simplicity. I love the slickness. He does a lot of menswear, suit
Mhm.
stuff. Not that cutting edge, but I just love the simplicity and everything. Chris Van Ash, definitely number one. Um, I'd say maybe Willie Smith. Uh,
Mhm.
I don't have any pieces from Willie Smith, and there's not much documentation on actual pieces or collections. It's his attitude as a designer. He once said that, oh, if you want fashion inspiration, if you want like color combination and garment knowledge, you don't need to go to France for it. Just go to Harlem. Just go to church in Harlem. Like everything's there, and on a Sunday, like that's what he said, and
Mhm.
that really tells people how much detail you miss if you don't pay attention. You think that, oh, I need to go to the most pristine places to get inspiration. No,
Right.
just look around you, literally, right? And that's why I love him for it. And Tom Brown, I love Tom Brown, love his stuff. Really consistent. I've spoken about Tom Brown with someone that's really into the menswear industry, so really into like tailored stuff, not really in the high fashion side. They don't
Mhm.
really like Tom Brown. They just think that he's a cop out. He just took one style and kept doing it and doing it. And I was like, I guess I know where that come from, but I don't agree with it. And one thing I love the most about Tom Brown is that he doesn't, well, at least early on in his career, he doesn't look for changes. He look for evolution because he
Mhm.
believes that customers deserve the feeling of knowing what they can expect each time in different seasons, right?
Right.
So he would take every time he designs would take something from the last season, innovate it, and make it new. So even though it's new, you know what's in store.
Right.
So he's huge on the idea of evolution versus drastic change. Build familiarity with your customer, and they will, be your diehard fans. Love that
Mhm.
idea. It's a cool dude. Uh, I love how he always wears shorts and long socks.
Mhm.
Uh, Yeah, Tom Brown, Chris Van Ash, Willie Smith. I think maybe I think Alexander McQueen defo has to be up there. I think people listening to this be like, "Oh, where's Alexander McQueen? Say Alexander McQueen."
I was thinking that same thing. Alexander
Yeah, yeah,
McQueen.
yeah. Alexander McQueen, just class, dude. Like he is so cutthroat, so honest. And one interview, he said, or an interviewer asked him, "What would you do if you decide to, leave the fashion industry, or after you passed away?" That was way before anything happened. So she asked that question, and Lee was like, "I'll just burn the whole place down." Because it is different. It is different to have someone carry out your vision for you than you yourself carry out itself. Everything's so personal, so you
Mhm,
can't rely on anyone else. So why like risk that and have your name tainted, than just have a beautiful ending and just shut it
mhm,
down. Love. Also, book recommendation, needs to read. Everyone needs to read this. Gods and Kings. Lovely
mhm.
story about John Galliano and Alexander McQueen. Also, John Galliano. I'm sorry if I swear a piece of shit. Um, uh, but yeah. Um, but it's interesting to look into both designers' history. So Alexander
Mhm,
McQueen, and last, it has to be this design pair called AF Van der Vorst, which
mhm.
is a Belgian design couple. Both of them gorgeous looking, first of all, and tying into the whole Alexander McQueen burning his place down if he's not designing for them. AF Van der Vorst did the same thing, in a sense that they think that the fashion industry is compromising their strive for authenticity,
Right.
because they're huge on storytelling, and slowly, as they've been designing for like 20 years. So I think around like 2016, 2017, they started realizing everyone's just focusing too much on product. No one cares about stories anymore. No one really cares
Right.
about how you, right? And they don't like that idea, because that's all they're for. So
Right.
instead of compromising their value, they decided that in 2020 they're going to shut it down. And they say that
Mhm,
if they end it here, they can end in beauty, which is just beautiful expression, right? You don't compromise yourself for the industry. You and your partner decide to, hey, it's okay. We don't need to keep doing it for the sake of it. Let's just end it and do something else. And then they ended it.
mhm,
Their design is really nice, really intricate, kind of a little bit gothy. I don't want to use that word sometimes, because I know someone who's actually in the goth subculture is going to hate me for it, but that's the only word I can think of. Really dark, really visceral, and
mhm,
really phantasmagorical, fantastical, and that's what I love
mhm.
about them. So 5. I have Vandervorst, Lee, Chris Van Ash, Willie Smith, Tom Brown.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. But I'd like to go over some honorable mentions, like, I don't know if you heard of Guo Pei. She's a
Wallpaper, yeah,
Chinese,
yeah.
yeah, she's like a Chinese haute couture designer. Like, oh my God, like her garments are so phenomenal. I love the attention to detail. I love how
Mhm.
she puts like not only her storytelling, but also talking about a lot about her culture within each of her garments. Like, it's so phenomenal, especially like the platform heels. Same thing with like Alexander McQueen. It's really, really amazing. Like, I just love how like some designers push the boundaries.
What's your top 5?
I would say really like one of them is Mugler, the late
Mugler,
Terry
okay, yeah.
Mugler. Like I love how innovative he was during the 90s, especially with
Right.
a lot of his garments. It was very fun, very playful. It had some sex appeal to it. Of course, my number
Mhm.
2 would be Alexander McQueen.
Yeah.
Number 3, Guo Pei.
Mhm.
I would say number 4, I would say Garth Pugh. Garth Pugh.
Garrett Hugh, wow, okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Love
yeah.
him.
I love his stuff as well. I love how just with his stuff is very out the box, very, very like it has like that dark,
He's
like
so emo.
right. Yeah, yeah. I just love what he does, like, the black and the red. And I would say my number 5, I would say who's the other person that I thought of? Oh, Ellie Saab. Ellie Saab, like,
Eddie Saab, wow.
yeah, I
Arabic
love his
designer.
garments, and I guess an honorable mention would be Zahir Murad. You know, like
I don't
his
know that.
yeah, he's
Zahir
another
Murad, I
like
think I've seen his name.
yeah, Zahir Murad. Yeah, he's I think I don't know where he's from, but you know, I love like his garments and like his elegant gowns and there was like a brand new collection that he had out for like I think it was like for fall and winter or for spring and summer. I don't know. It's either one of the two.
Mhm.
Um so like I just love like the newest collection he put out. Like it's very playful, very fun. I like how we added the eyes as like an accent. So that's what I
Mm,
really like, you know, in regards to those designers because they're so out the box, and I love their level of detail. You know, their level of
yeah,
applique and embroidery. You know, really pushing the boundaries with fashion, not just having like you know the typical. It's like you know the one of one. You know, like no one
yeah.
else can have this. Something unique.
Exactly, exactly. And someone's gonna be like, "Where's Rick Owens? You guys, this podcast sucked. Where's Rick Owens?"
Rick Owens.
He's phenomenal. I just don't know enough about his design to actually like him, but he's
Mhm,
phenomenal. Like stuff I see, great.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, but Tom Bryan, I seen like his collection, and it was like very Victorian, very English. You know, I like some of his stuff. You know, like some of like
yeah.
the like gray suits, and there's this other designer guy. He does like hats, and you know the brand is called Essential, and I love like these tall, you know, hats, these intricate, unique hats that he would make. So yeah, there's some cool designers out there. Another one I think is Christopher John Rogers. You know, he does
Mhm.
amazing fashion designs and you know he did an outfit for I think for Michelle Obama and for Kamala Harris. You know,
Yeah,
so yeah, designed for those two. So yeah, it's really cool to see like these designers come out there, like come out and really showcase what they can do. You know,
yeah.
especially you know showcasing their uniqueness in their story. Another designer, Kevin Germanier, like he's a design. I just found out.
I don't know who that is.
I think he's from Switzerland, Swiss.
Okay.
I think from my understanding, but I love his work. Like it's very couture, very colorful, very out the box. So I just love out the box designers.
Yep. Totally, totally.
Yeah,
I don't know who that is.
it's all good. It's cool. Uh,
I'm gonna look them up. Him, her,
yeah. Kevin Germanier is a guy.
as a guy. Okay, okay.
Yeah. So, but I definitely want to, you know, move on. So, in regards to just with watches and whiskey, I definitely want to mix up the Ryan Yip experience. So,
Oh
give
yeah.
us 5 watches with a recommendation of an outfit and matching whiskey, if you have 5.
Uh, I definitely have two for sure on top of my head. Um, first will be, you know what? I'm just gonna use my watches to build the outfit. So first watch would be this what I'm wearing right now. Is the Seiko S. I don't know if you can see it. Whatever, right here. I
Mhm,
can send you a picture afterwards. It's the Seiko SARX053. Okay, blue
mhm,
dial, really beautiful. Seiko, Japanese watch company. Love them a lot. So to wear this watch, go classic like Japanese Americana style work jacket, cargo pants, whatever loafers, you know, that whole style. It's going to go
mhm,
well with any Seiko. And for whiskey, because Seiko, Japanese watch, Japanese whiskey, let's go with. I'll go with Yoichi.
mhm,
The reason why you can go with a lot of other better whiskey, but the reason why I go with Yoichi is because that's the first ever bottle I was gifted by my friend on my birthday. Uh, his name is Ryan, also, and he bought me this. It's really cheap in Hong Kong. Actually, I think it's maybe 300 Hong Kong dollars, 400. So that's what, like 60. No, like 50 USD, something like that.
mhm,
Maybe. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's Yoichi. I would choose Yoichi or any Japanese whiskey. Really great
mhm,
Japanese whiskey is really, really good. And then the second outfit with watch and whiskey pairing. The watch we have here is, let me just wipe the surface a little bit. It is my Graham uh, aviation watch. This is a really important watch for me because my mom bought me this watch. And the
Mhm.
reason why we both love this is because we saw this on a TV show and we're like, that watch
Mhm.
is really, really nice. Well, I've never seen something like this. It looks like a grenade, right? So we saw it on, it actually looks like the grenade trigger. So
Mhm.
we saw that. And then for my, kind of like a celebratory gift for
Mhm.
entering UBC, my mom bought me this watch. Love it so
Mhm.
much. It's just one downside is that I have really thin wrist, and this is a
Mhm.
pretty big watch. I think it's like 42 millimeters or something like that. So
Mhm.
if I'm wearing an aviation watch, it's called a pulso. Oh, also it's called a doctor watch. Just a little watch knowledge. It's actually called a doctor watch because I don't know
Wow.
if you can see. There's this scale around here.
Mhm.
Okay, it's actually this watch is actually calibrated to count pulse. So it says base 30 pulsations. So you start the counter, you
Right.
count 30, you count 30 count your pulse, and you stop it, and wherever it lands is your beats per minute.
Mm.
It's called doctor's watch. That's why it's called Graham Chronofighter Pulsometer, I believe. Outfit would definitely classic bomber jacket, but I'm not gonna just pair a random bomber jacket outfit. I'll just go with full buffalo style. Uh,
Mhm.
Popularized by Ray Petrie in the 80s in England. Buffalo style, Graham Chrono Fighter, whiskey. Since we're going so like aviation, that reminds me of Top Gun. So let's go with what's that called? Let's go with a rye whiskey. Mm,
Mm.
Actually, let's not go with rye whiskey. Let's go with classic. Maker's Mark. I love Maker's Mark.
Mhm.
Really cheap whiskey doesn't mean it's low end. Maker's Mark make great whiskey. So yeah, that's what I do. Maker's Mark, Graham Corona Fighter with Buffalo style outfit. Let's go one more. Let's go with like a diving watch. I do have a diving watch. I don't know where is it. Maybe. Oh, conveniently, it's right here. Conveniently, it's also Seiko.
Mhm.
Actually, I changed the strap to orange strap, but it's a Seiko.
Ooh,
This
that's really cool.
watch you can get for like I think 200, 300 USD probably. Seiko Prospects S reference number SSC 618P1. Okay, this is my
Mm.
first ever watch. My dad bought me on my 18th birthday. Sorry,
Mm.
my mom bought me on my 18th birthday. Wow, my mom bought all my watches. I bought this on my own though. I bought this on my own, and that you know what? I'll just go with classic hoodie, sweatpants. Really, really everyday watch because that used to be my everyday. Well, this is now my everyday watch, the Seiko SARX 053. Really, everyday watch. Pairing everyday watch with an everyday outfit. Let's go with a
Mhm.
not so everyday whiskey, whatever. Right? One of my favorite whiskeys, Scottish whiskey.
Mhm.
Scottish whiskey, a Scotch, right? It's called Ardbeg Ugadal.
Mm.
Do you mind if I pull the bottle?
Go ahead.
Because I actually have it. So beautiful package. Ardbeg Ugadal.
That's amazing.
Amazing. I love really peaty whiskey, which literally tastes like you're drinking mud and burnt wood. Um,
Mm.
this is the bottle. Ardbeg Ugadal.
Oh, wow.
Really is a winter, I'd say a winter whiskey because you don't want to be drinking burnt ash and mud taste in your mouth in the summer. You just don't want that. You want it, in a cold winter night or day. Depends on who you are if you day drink. Uh,
Mhm.
Ardbeg Ugadal, great whiskey. Add a little bit of water, like 2 drops, open it up, swirl around, taste it
Mm.
on a winter night. You know what? I encourage anyone to actually try it on maybe during Christmas. Go out to a bar, order it if you see it. it really hits the spot because it's really warming, especially as I said, the burnt ash taste makes it just an extra layer of heaviness to it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I got three for you. Sorry, not five, but I got three for you.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all
Yeah.
cool. Now, like, what designers do you think that people are sleeping on, and what designers do you think were ahead of their time?
Designer that people are sleeping on. That's a great question. Designer that people are sleeping on, I would say actually is Chris Van Ash. He's
Mm.
not designing right now because he
Mhm.
just left Berluti like 2 years ago, I believe. His design with his runway with Dan Witz. Dan Witz, I think it's the artist name with the collaboration. Is like this artist paints a lot of like mosh pit paintings. So he captures what a mosh pit would look like, what a rave would look like, and he draws it, right? And
Mm.
Chris Van Ash printed that on like many garments. I think
Mm.
as much as I say he's simple with his design, there's a lot of detail in his
Right.
designs that are overlooked. And whenever I say, "Oh, I love Chris Van Ash," and people are like, "Who the fuck is Chris Van Ash?" And yeah, I was like, "Oh, that dude that created this whole collection." I was like, "Oh, I know that collection. I don't know it's from
Right.
Chris Van Ash." Chris Van Ash super slept on, ahead of their time. Alexander McQueen.
Agreed.
Alexander McQueen. Like it's well, I'd say once he got popular, people understood his designs. But when he first
Mhm.
started, wow, the amount of negative comments calling him fat, calling him, oh, he's just an East London,
Mhm.
poor kid trying to take a, piece of the French high fashion, something like
Mhm.
that. Disgusting, right?
Right.
But he it really affected him, but he kept, plugging in, putting in the work. And when he was doing when he was designing for Givenchy, even Givenchy himself said that I don't want to look at Givenchy right now because I don't know what he's doing with my brand, and I am disappointed. But what he was
Mm.
creating was phenomenal.
Right.
The couture collections, beautiful. Don't know what Hubert was talking about, to be honest, but ahead of their time, definitely Alexander McQueen. A visionary, a genius. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of one.
And one of one. No one can be we're not gonna see another Lee. I hope we do, but it's impossible.
Yeah, yeah, right, exactly. Now, I definitely want to switch gears and talk about in one of your TikTok videos, you talked about the Crow Tribe, and this is where you talked
Yes.
about Asian fashion designers, and I definitely want you to elaborate the importance of that movement. Where Asian women dress as a means of as a means of independence rather than a means of being appeasing or pleasing to men.
Mhm. Um, you mean you want me to expand on what Crow Tribe is or just the whole idea of independent dressing?
Both.
Both. Okay. So Crow Tribe uh basically was started because they saw Yoji Yamamoto and Rei Kawakubo's collection back in I think 81, 83,
Hmm.
which is called Destroy. I think it's called Destroy. So they saw, it's like, oh my god, that's really phenomenal. And a lot of people in Japan started seeing that as like a green light to dress independently, to dress not colorful, to just fulfill what the society wants women to dress like. And so they started dressing head to toe black. And that really gives a whole different vibe to what they thought women should be, right? Because they used to view, I mean, in Japan, the women used to dress, colorful stuff, sweater, short skirt, checkered, whatever, everything, which is the exact opposite of what head to toe black is. And that really gave power to a lot of women dressing independently, thinking, knowing that they can escape from the societal norm through fashion. But the Crow Tribe movement was tainted by gangs because they saw this style and they're like, "Phew, that's something I can adopt into my
Right.
thing. And a lot of gang started wearing like the crow outfit, all black, and they
Mm-hmm.
start rioting and causing trouble in Japan. I remember this one allegedly one event in Japan called something Aomori event. Aomori is, I think, it's a place in Japan. So
Right.
it's a traditional event, and they were wearing all black, causing trouble, and that gave
Mm-hmm.
the Crow tribe or this kind of fashion a bad name. So eventually, the police would just stand at the front door and say that if you like kind of police this crowd away from the main event before anything
Mm-hmm.
starts. So because of this bad reputation, this phenomenon or subculture kind of
Right.
faded away, but the style remained.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of women dressing independently, in a sense that they don't feel forced to conform uh,
Mm-hmm.
according to societal norms. It's been done throughout history. Chanel, YSL,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Rudy Gernreich. Rudy Gernreich did it. Rudy Gernreich did it the exact opposite. He gave women power in a sense that dress as like vulgarly as you want. I don't care. No one should care in a sense. You know what I mean? No, not that you should like just walk around nude or anything, but he
Right.
created like no one should just walk around. But he said
Right.
like
Right.
you created monokini, which is your chest is out. It's just like it's
Mm-hmm.
basically like bikini without the top, but there's like two string going down the middle,
Mm-hmm.
right? Chest is out. So the idea is that why should women restrict themselves like that? Why can men do that and why can't women do that, right? But obviously, back then when he first made that, and women started wearing it, there are a lot of beach police start policing the beach area, seeing like arresting anyone that wears that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Rudy Gernreich, Chanel, YSL, with the whole like designing suits for women back then, super
Right.
controversial, right? Rudy Gernreich also did it, but he tried to show it during a Cody Award. They banned it because like, oh, the world's not ready to see women in suit. And I was like, what? No, Coco Chanel did it like years ago, and YSL literally did it a year after. And you all
Mm-hmm.
buy it. Why can't Rudy do it? No idea why. So in terms of giving power to women through fashion, it's been done throughout. But the Crow Tribe one is different because it's a different silhouette. It's not just
Right.
suits. It's not just giving what is traditionally menswear to women. It is designing something completely new for everyone. I don't care who you are, just wear it. It's this is giving you power to kind of break the normal, societal norm. Just do it. So that's unique in its own, but the idea of giving power to women through fashion is not new. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 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 right. Yeah, absolutely, totally. But I definitely want to switch gears and talk about gatekeepers. So, do you feel like, should top publications of the past worry about their staying power in a time where the fashion community may be moving faster than they can keep up with?
I think that's where the big magazines need to be aware or need to
Hold on for
know.
one second.
Yeah,
Hold on for one second. My camera stopped.
all good, all good, all good.
Right.
Right,
I'm back now.
all good, all good.
All right.
Uh, yeah, about the gatekeepers. I think big magazines need to realize that they no longer are the exclusive source of information, right?
Mm-hmm.
As you said, internet is accessible to everyone. So their power. So in terms of innovating and keep being relevant, is that they have to show people that they're not just an exclusive information source. They are expert in what they do, which
Mm-hmm.
I think is what Vogue or many big magazines failed to do recently. Many of their articles, not all of them, but many of their articles are really just brainless. Like, look at this
Mm-hmm.
5 things. Look at this trend. Look at this. When they're not even trends, they're just a thing that a celebrity did. That's it. There's not a trend. So they need to show people that, okay,
Mhm,
we can accept the fact that we're no longer the sole
mhm.
exclusive source of information, but
Right.
we can tell you that there's a reason why you should read Vogue because of this. See, we have this type of opinion that you normal people can't think of. They need to utilize that. And that's why I think Harper Bazaar, they have oh fuck, I think she writes for Harper's, I think Rachel Tashian
Mhm,
on Instagram. It's the Prophet Pizza. Great articles. Like she doesn't come she's not selling the point that she has exclusive information. She's selling the knowledge of what she has through experience and analyze fashion and point out, hey, did you look at this? In this show it happened. These two, hey, look at the connection here.
mhm,
That's what these publications are here for nowadays. They need
mhm,
to tell people that things are happening that we may not be able to see without certain knowledge. That's what they should do. They need to move on. Just like stop thinking that they are the best. Like get off your high horse. Know that the times changed. Move forward. Show
mhm.
people what you're actually good at. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now, one of the books you suggested in, your fashion history guide is The Chiffon Trenches, a memoir by
Mhm.
Leon Talley. Rest in peace to him. So I definitely want to ask, tell us your take about the life and career about Ajahn Talley, and what are some things that people could take away from reading his book?
One thing that stands out in the book is how aware he is of his surrounding. Every time he mentioned an event, he describes what everyone's wearing.
Hmm.
Kind of like what ASAP Rocky does every time when he tells a story. That's what ASAP Rocky does. He described what Ferg is wearing, what
Hmm.
ASAP Nas is wearing, what everyone's wearing, and that's what Andre Leon Talley did in his book. And that's amazing because that is something that people should do more. Be aware, not
Hmm.
just, oh, look at me, I'm so cool. Outfit, fit check.
Yeah.
No, it's not just that. When you go to Fashion Week, it's not just like a competition of who's more relevant. You know, look at your surrounding. Look what people are wearing. Why are they good? Why are they bad? I don't care what opinion you have. Tell us why. Like, be aware. Give us details because I wasn't there. So I hope that you can tell me what happened there, right? Don't just
Hmm.
make a video of showing you being there. That doesn't make any sense. Tell me actually, what did I miss out? And I can live vicariously through you. Tell me what's going on. And that's what Andre Leon Talley can do. And that's why I think he can write such amazing runway analysis back then without immediate, without being able to record on his phone, check back on the notes what he did. He memorized everything and still be
Hmm.
able to write down every detail. Why are they good? What can be improved? Not why are they bad? What can be improved? And
Hmm.
just his whole feeling about the show. He is so aware. He's present. He doesn't
Hmm.
care about the clout, the popularity. He's just there enjoying a show, write it down, enjoying an event, going to whatever, partying with Andy Warhol, going to Karl Lagerfeld's event, whatever. He isn't just
Hmm.
there to tell people, "Hey, look at me, I'm important." No,
Hmm.
it's there, it present. That's the book. Great biggest takeaway: be present in the fashion industry. So much are going on, so might as well just be present.
Hmm.
That's what I learned from this book, which is gr- great book.
Yeah, yeah. Like I had a chance to listen to the entire book. It's a phenomenal book. Like the people that he knew, like how you said is how so good he was in analyzing fashion. You
Mhm.
know, there's I don't see anyone else doing it like him. You know what I mean?
Actually, yeah, no.
He was so invested into his craft, and that's something I could really respect
Mm.
about Ajahn Talley. It is like he's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. Well, I wish to have 10% of what he brings to the table, to be honest. That's someone I
Yeah.
look up to after reading his book. I don't really know about him before. I just knew that. He passed away recently. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, is that someone that I should know? Oh God, because everyone's reporting about his death. And then I bought the book. I was like, oh, okay, no wonder. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, right, exactly. Like he made a huge splash, a huge stamp in the fashion world. Like he's definitely a
Hmm.
legend, an icon, absolutely no doubt. And I had recently did a panel discussion. I'll send the video to you. Just talking about Andre and his life. With a few artists. One's a fashion professor from Pratt. Another one was a student from Pratt. Institute. And
Hmm.
one of my colleagues, she's also from the DC area, like me. She went to
Okay.
SCAD for, textile design fibers. So we all talked about, Leon Talley and his legacy. So, but
Yeah,
yeah, like he really made a huge splash. Like
really.
it, he was fantastic. But I definitely want to go ahead and close this interview about asking about, just in regards to, so you've gained a substantial knowledge, that within regards to fashion history. So 10 years from now, do you see yourself still involved in fashion, or do you see, that you may have a chance to set your attention somewhere else?
Definitely wish that I would still be involved in fashion. I don't think I will be able to get enough of fashion, but I also don't know if the industry is going to break me. If I'm going to be like, oh, I don't like the industry. I still like fashion, but I don't like the industry. I don't know. But I
Hmm.
hope that I will be in the industry, loving it, thriving, and making a mark. Um, There will there be a strong chance of me setting my interest somewhere else? Maybe, because the watches and whiskey thing is still, on my mind. It's still something that I wish to pursue. Hey,
Right.
if I'm one day super successful, am I gonna pull Matthew McConaughey and collab with, Wild Turkey? Maybe, like a making your own whiskey kind of thing. Would love to do that.
That'd be cool.
Watch. That'd be so cool. Like if also just let's just fantasize a little bit. Imagine you're like prominent to a certain level in society that Rolex want to do a collab with you and they want, whatever, Ryan Yip on Rolex. I don't know what to do with Rolex, but hey, if that happened, that'd be cool. I'm just putting it out there in the universe, just trying
Yeah.
to manifest it. Gotta dream big, right? But yes,
Right.
definitely would love to see myself to be still involved with fashion, um, in some way. Would love to, whether to teach it, whether to report it, um, to talk about it. I love talking, as you may know already. I love talking. So yeah,
Oh
like
yeah.
talking about fashion. Yeah, that's what I'd like to happen in 10 years from now.
Wow, yeah, that's really, really cool. Last but not least, where can people find you on social media? How can people support the Fashion History Guide?
Okay, first of all, Ryan Yip Fashion on Instagram and TikTok. And then I have a newsletter which can be found on both social platforms like link in bio. I hate saying the word link in bio, but there's a link there. Uh, and the Fashion History Guide is also, I mean, I have a link tree. When you click the link tree, you can see everything I have. The Fashion History Guide is basically a really short fundamental guide to help you get started. So
Mhm.
you do the journey, however you want to play your journey out is up to you, but how to get started and things I recommend doing and recommend not doing as on the guide as a one-page website. No bullshit. It's free. Everything on one page. You can access that. Newsletter also free, but you can also get the paid subscription with exclusive content. Uh, yeah, Ryan Yip Fashion, and my name is Ryan Yip. Yeah.
All right, cool, cool. And also talk about also the roundtable fashion on Discord.
I totally forgot about that. Yes, RTF Roundtable Fashion. Also link in bio, the link tree. You can join it. This is basically a Discord server where a lot of like-minded people group together. I know fashion Discord have a really bad rep. A lot of assault, violence, whatever happened on fashion Discord, but this is different
Really?
because oh yeah, the if you know the stories, man, like fashion Discord is some of the most toxic things on earth right now.
Well, I never knew that.
Oh, you should. You should do some research. I can't really say it on air, but yeah, you should do some research
Okay,
into
it's
it.
fine. It's cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, So yeah, I would say that's different because
Mhm.
people that I attract from my channel through my social media is a different kind of fashion lovers. They're not in it for, hey, look at me, I'm cool kind of feeling. They most of them, many of them are fashion students and they really wish to get on server resources and everything, chat with people, know people, they can collab. And that's a platform that I can provide. And also I do like sometimes I do panel discussions. I invite a few Discord members. I mean, whoever wants to be on a panel and then get onto a voice chat. Let's talk fashion. Hey, this week let's talk about Paris Fashion Week, and they just give their opinion, and we talk for like 45 minutes. So it's like the reason why I call it roundtable fashions because everyone's equal, like the roundtable.
Right.
Uh, I'm not the superior, and they're not the inferior. Many of them are way more knowledgeable than me, but that's the
Mhm.
create a civilized discourse kind of
Mhm.
vibe. So yeah, RTF Discord link also in my link tree. So check that out.
All right, that's really, really cool. Well, thank you so much, Ryan, for jumping onto the show. Like, I love like this discussion about fashion, like the ins and outs about fashion history. Your content is really, really amazing. I
Thank you
really
so
dig
much.
it. Just thank you so much. I really enjoyed this conversation.
I enjoyed it likewise so much. Thank you. It was a pleasure to be on here, Asia. Thank you for inviting me. I love doing podcasts. I love talking. So thank you so much for enabling.
Yeah, you're welcome. Take care.
Take care. You too.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to click the bell for notifications. Also, follow me on my social media platforms and visit my website, ASIATHABIRD.com, and be on the lookout for more interviews to come very soon. Take care and stay beautiful.